It's the middle of summer here, high up in the southern Rocky Mountains of the Pecos Wilderness, where you can hear Jack's Creek nearby flowing and the Pecos River gushing with life. Where the days are in the 70s, warm enough to lie in the plush grass, hike to magical alpine lakes, and laze about in the hammock. And the nights are in the 50s, cold enough to cozy up in bed in warm blankets, reading your favorite book by candlelight. If you're new here, I'm a solo mom who travels part-time and lives full-time in my camper with my son to live a life more immersed in nature and free. My name is Sierra and I am de la Tierra. Guys, I am so happy here. Just look. Literally just been laying down in the grass, softest, most beautiful plush grass with 2 good books, my favorite blanket, and I'm in a robe and it's summertime. Like, what more could I ask for? Then it was time to explore what was to be our home for the next 2 weeks. So we headed a little ways down the mountain to hike Cave Creek Trail. Yeah, we had bugs land on us. It was pretty magical. First hike of the trip. Although this hike eventually leads to caves, we don't really hike with any destination in mind. We more so frolic at our own pace, making sure to take plenty of breaks to rest and to take everything in. If we find a really special spot, we'll even meditate sometimes or just practice mindfulness. The ground felt so good to walk on, so we headed back barefoot despite the curious looks we got, and happened upon the most perfect little area to spend the rest of our day lazing about by the river. As much as we love adventuring and exploring, most of our days look like slowing down, cooking homemade meals, reading, journaling, doing yoga, and playing music outside under the trees. Part of the reason I chose this life was to be able to experience a place at a slower pace, to get to know the nearby pine tree that would become my favorite spot to visit every day. To know that each morning the golden mantle ground squirrels would surely come to visit and rest on our solar panels basking in the sun. To experience the people and the culture that runs so deeply here. To not rush and jam-pack my days with a full itinerary of various activities, trying to squeeze the most out of my time, but rather to experience the world at my own pace, knowing that even if I don't see it all, I can always come back. Remembering that the soul does not rush, it truly lives in the present moment. I usually try to go into town to get all of my supplies on travel days, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. We had to drive an hour down the mountain to the closest store that offered produce, but at least the drive was scenic. Texas could never. I didn't realize it was monsoon season here, so for our last few days, we experienced a lot of rain and overcast weather, but it made for the coziest nights. And while my solar wasn't the happiest, with the rain comes the most beautiful cloud formations and a rainbow or two if you're lucky. Being here felt like a dream, an answered prayer I patiently waited for. Being in the presence of these ancient mountains felt like returning home. I feel so immensely grateful to have found an alternative way of living that allows me to be so immersed in nature, all while still being affordable. I always thought you had to be rich to vacation in the summers, or that I had to wait till retirement to be able to travel. But there is another way. Sure, you have to go without a few comforts and luxuries of our modern, industrialized world. But I honestly prefer it that way. This life allows me to experience richness in another form, a greater form even. A richness that comes with access to nature, time to spend with myself and my son, and love that is abundant around me, manifesting through the sunlight, the wind, the dancing aspens, the curious wildlife, and of course these wise mountains that will always have a piece of my soul. Last little adventure before we leave this place. I'm really gonna miss this place. This has honestly been one of my most favorite campsites. I know I say that about every one of them, but this is literally what I've been dreaming about. This is why I did RV life to begin with, because I always imagined myself in the mountains amongst the trees, and here I am. So we almost stayed the entire 14 days, but it's been very overcast, very cloudy and rainy, and our solar is pretty much down to nothing. So yeah, we're gonna head out of here, go somewhere sunnier for a little bit, and then head back into the mountains.